So I got locked outside of my apartment because I left the key inside the keyhole inside the apartment, and that was a pickle. Like every other time I went to my favorite university, YouTube, and they were talking about using an X-ray paper. Now where am I going to get an X-ray paper from? Anyway, that's the right rigidity to go into the ridge and undo the door when it's shut but not locked with a key. That was my case. Nothing mattered more than getting back into my apartment at that point. I mean, my day was going okay, not great, not bad, and at that point I was like, what am I going to do? I reached out to my neighbors and asked them if somebody had an X-ray paper, and someone already had the same issue before, so they came out to help me out. And after struggling with the door for 20 minutes, I finally got into my own apartment. That was a sigh of relief. A couple of takeaways from this whole episode. If you get locked out of your apartment in Paris, the keys are such that you can use an X-ray paper. Well, now you know from this video. That's the first takeaway. There's also a Coup Sec technique that you can use if your key is in the same position that you put it in. It was not my case, so that's why I had to use the X-ray paper. But if it's in the same position as you put it in, then with your key outside, you give it a little bit of a hit, a Coup Sec, and then it pushes the inside key out a bit, and then you can turn the outside key to get it. That's another takeaway. Now these guys who fix you the key, they break open your door, the Serruriers in France, they are extremely expensive. I knew that they were expensive, I just didn't know how expensive. My neighbor who came out also told me about how expensive they can get, from like 150 to 700, 800 euros, and that's what they'll ask you for. And you're stuck with them because you have nothing else that you can do. So by all means, avoid the Serrurier. If there's nothing else you can do, then reach out to the Serrurier. I'm also super grateful that I created this WhatsApp group and invited all my neighbors to my home when I moved into this new place, and I made them Indian food. Even if you're not an extrovert, reach out to your neighbors so that you're on a first name basis at least. Somebody's cat needs to be taken care of over the weekend. You get locked out of your house. There's nobody else that you can go to like your neighbor. They'll understand you and they'll help you out. To also be best prepared for your urgencies, put all your documents in one place in your Google Drive. I have all the contracts with my insurance company, with my house agency, and so on. If nothing else works, then I can call my insurance guys and ask them if they have a Serrurier, and they might, you know, if there's a plumbing issue, if there's an electricity issue. You don't want to be hunting in your email for contacts when you're in a crisis situation. To go one step further, I even put my insurance stuff, my mutual, my work contract, all of that stuff, my paperwork in another Google Drive folder, and I have that in quick access on my phone too, in case I need it. That's another takeaway. If you're moving in a foreign country, you don't want to be hunting for your documents in a time of crisis. Now when you're stuck in France, and this happened to me when I left my phone behind at like 2 a.m. in an Uber, and the only guy who could help me out at that point in the middle of the night was this guy who spoke French. So if you're moving to France, before you invest more energy and time into anything else, consider investing it in French. It's not just for the paperwork and to make friends, it also helps you when you're in a pickle. In a situation like this, just being able to speak in French will get you out of a pickle. Invest in learning French. And if you're getting started and you don't know where to start, then click the first link in the description and let me know. I'll send some free resources your way that have helped me with my French learning journey. Now, I also broke my leg on my first day in Lille. I didn't have a SIM card on my phone, and I didn't have Wi-Fi in the room yet. I mean, I was in excruciating pain in the middle of the night, and with like 2% battery left on my phone, I dialed 911 with no SIM card. The ambulance guys picked up. With my broken French, I said, beaucoup trop mal, pied cassé, aidez, espace étudiant, s'il vous plaît, aidez. And they came with an ambulance in 7 minutes. This experience, among a bunch of others, I've written down in my book Fit in France, which helps expats and students when they first move to France, from everything related to paperwork, this crisis situation, and everything in between. There should be the second link in the description. Click that if you're interested in a free copy. I'm working on a version 2 with some corrections, and you'll be notified when the second version is out. This current apartment of mine in Paris, I found it after hunting for it for 2 weeks, and that's extremely quick by Paris standards. If you're curious to find an apartment yourself here in Paris, check that video out. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. I'll see you next week, and keep learning.